When the next wave of irritation or frustration rises within you, and it will rise, will you be the wave, carried away by its destructive force? Or will you be the deep ocean that watches it pass on the surface, calm and undisturbed? Before we begin our training, understand this: your energy, your focus, your patience, your will is your most valuable currency. It is the fuel for everything you wish to create in this life. Yet, you give it away freely without even realizing it. The exhaustion you feel is not a sign of a hard day's work. It is the sign of 1,000 invisible cuts, draining you of your life force. I know what it's like to feel your vitality slowly leaking away, to give your best to your work, your family, and your goals, only to end the day feeling hollowed out, irritable, and empty. This is not a failure of your body. It is a failure of your defenses. This silent war for your energy is the only one that truly matters. In our training today, we will forge those defenses. First, we will illuminate the 4 types of invisible thieves that steal your energy. Then, I will give you the tools to identify the open gates within you that let them in. You will leave here not with abstract ideas, but with the first piece of your energetic armor, ready to reclaim the power that is rightfully yours. We begin by mapping the battlefield. A silent saboteur is any person, environment, habit, or thought pattern that consumes your energy without providing anything of value in return. They operate in stealth, leaving you depleted without a clear reason why. Let us unmask them. The first and most recognized are the people drains. They appear in many forms. There is the victim, who lives in a constant state of crisis and complaint. They do not want solutions. They want your sympathy, which is a direct transfer of your energy to them. There is the critic, who finds fault in everything and everyone. To feel powerful, they must make others feel small. Their negativity is a toxin that poisons your own outlook. There is the drama magnet, who thrives on chaos. If there is no drama, they will create it. Their life is a storm, and they will try to pull you into their vortex, feeding off the emotional intensity you provide. And there is the taker, who is a black hole of need. They are always asking for a favor, for your time, for your advice. But the flow of energy is always one way. They drain you and leave you with nothing. Identifying these archetypes in your life is the first step. But the saboteurs are not just external. Often, the most dangerous ones are the environments we choose to inhabit. These are the environmental drains. The most pervasive drain in the modern world is digital noise. Every notification, every buzz, every meaningless scroll is a small hook that pulls on your consciousness. Your phone is a slot machine for your attention, designed to keep you pulling the lever, spending your finite cognitive energy in exchange for fleeting, low-quality stimulation. The second environmental drain is physical clutter. A disordered space creates a disordered mind. Every object out of place competes for your attention on a subconscious level, creating a low-grade, constant fume of mental static that slowly erodes your ability to focus. This is not philosophy. This is documented psychology. In the 1980s, the environmental psychologists Rachel and Stephen Kaplan at the University of Michigan developed what is now known as attention restoration theory. Their research proved that our capacity for directed attention, the kind of deep focus you need for meaningful work, is a finite resource that gets depleted. They found that chaotic, cluttered, or overly stimulating environments, like a messy room or a notification-filled phone screen, cause what they call attentional fatigue. Your brain is being relentlessly overstimulated, forcing it to work harder just to filter out the noise. This drain is not metaphorical. It is a real depletion of your cognitive reserves. Your cluttered desk is not just untidy. It is an active saboteur of your mental energy. Recognizing these thieves, the people and the places that drain you, is the first step. You cannot fight an enemy you cannot see. Now, your task is to observe. For the next 24 hours, become a detective of your own energy. Notice when you feel full, and notice when you feel empty. Who or what was present when the shift happened? This awareness is the light that makes the invisible thieves visible. You have now learned to see the invisible thieves. But this knowledge is useless without understanding a deeper truth. No thief can enter a house that is not open. The saboteurs in your life only have the power that you grant them. This brings us to the most difficult and most important chapter of our training. To protect your energy, you must stop looking outward at the drainers and start looking inward at the holes in your own foundation. Why are you so susceptible? There are three primary gates that we leave open. The first is what I call the disease to peace. You have been taught that being a good person means always being agreeable, always being available, always saying yes. You confuse kindness with the absence of boundaries. But they are not the same. True kindness is a conscious choice to give your energy with purpose. People-pleasing is a compulsive fear of the consequences of saying no. You say yes to the extra project when you are already exhausted. You say yes to the friend who only calls to complain. You say yes to social events that drain your spirit. You do this because you are afraid of being seen as selfish, afraid of disappointing others, afraid of conflict. But every yes you speak to something that is not aligned with your well-being is a no to yourself. It is a declaration that the comfort of another person is more important than your own sanity. This is not kindness, it is self-abandon, and it leaves the main gate to your energy reserves wide open and unguarded. The second open gate is more subtle. It masquerades as strength, but it is born from the ego. It is the savior complex. You see someone in your life who is struggling, perhaps one of the victims we identified earlier, and a voice inside you says, "I can fix them." You offer advice they don't take. You offer support they misuse. You pour your time, your wisdom, and your precious energy into trying to solve their problems. But you cannot do the inner work for another human being. It is impossible. Trying to save someone who is not ready to save themselves is like pouring water into a bucket full of holes. You can empty your entire well, and at the end of the day, their bucket will still be empty, and your well will be dry. True compassion is not about carrying another person's burdens. That is ego. True compassion is about holding a space for them to find the strength to carry their own, without letting their struggle become your own. The Savior does not save anyone. He only creates two victims instead of one. The third gate is the deepest and most fundamental. If this gate is open, all others will eventually fail. It is the vulnerability of the empty cup. If your own life lacks a deep, internal source of meaning and purpose, you will become an energetic scavenger. You will look to the outside world to make you feel alive. The drama of others becomes your entertainment. The validation of others becomes your nourishment. The problems of others become a welcome distraction from the emptiness of your own inner world. A person whose cup is full of their own purpose, their own practice, their own peace is a poor target for an energy vampire. They have nothing to offer because they do not need anything from the outside. But a person whose cup is empty is a magnet for saboteurs. Your neediness is the scent they follow. They know you will tolerate their chaos in exchange for a few fleeting moments of attention or excitement. To truly protect your energy, you must first commit to filling your own cup, so that you are interacting with the world from a place of fullness, not from a place of need. Your vulnerability to these drains is not just a psychological pattern, it is wired into your very biology. In the 1990s, a team of neuroscientists in Parma, Italy, led by Dr. Giacomo Rizzolatti, made a revolutionary discovery. Mirror neurons. These are remarkable brain cells that fire not only when you perform an action, but also when you simply observe someone else performing that same action. Crucially, this system extends to emotions. When you are in the presence of someone who is chronically anxious, angry, or distressed, your mirror neuron system automatically simulates that emotional state within your own brain. This is the biological root of empathy, but it is also the mechanism of what scientists call emotional contagion. Without a conscious practice of detachment, you are neurologically programmed to catch the emotional states of those around you. Your lack of boundaries is a literal invitation for their internal chaos to become your own. This is why protecting your energy is not a mental trick. It is the active and disciplined management of your own neurobiology. You are closing the gate not just to their behavior, but to its unconscious echo inside your own mind. You have identified the thieves and you have understood the open gates within you. Awareness is the first step, but it is not the last. Now, we move from knowing to doing. We begin the work of forging your shield, A boundary is not a wall you build to isolate yourself from the world. It is a filter you create to consciously choose what you allow into your inner space. It is not an act of rejection, it is an act of self-preservation. Forging this shield requires the practice of 3 core skills. The first and most fundamental skill is learning to wield the no of integrity. The word no is one of the most difficult for a compassionate person to say, but the inability to say it is the root of your energetic exhaustion. A no spoken from a place of integrity is not a rejection of the other person. It is an affirmation of your own limits and priorities. It is a powerful declaration that your energy is a finite and precious resource. You do not need to justify, apologize for, or explain your no. Over-explaining is a symptom of guilt, a sign that you still believe you are doing something wrong. The most effective no is simple, clear, and delivered with calm respect. A simple formula is, "Thank you for the invitation opportunity, but I will not be able to participate at this time." That is all. The first few times you do this, it will feel uncomfortable. The people pleaser inside you will scream in protest. But with each repetition, you are strengthening for toy and protest. But with each repetition, you are strengthening a new muscle. You are teaching yourself and the world that your peace is not up for negotiation. A no of integrity is a yes to your own well-being. The second skill is for situations where a direct no is not possible or appropriate. With a family member, a superior at work, or in a group setting. This is the art of strategic disengagement. You cannot always control the environment you are in, but you can always control your level of participation in it. When the drama magnet begins their storm, or the critic begins their attack, you have a choice. You can be swept up into the wind, or you can become a mountain. To become a mountain is to practice the art of observation without absorption. You listen, but you do not take on the emotional weight of what is being said. You can be compassionate, but you refuse to be consumed. Imagine you are watching a film. You can understand the character's struggles. You can follow the plot, but you never forget that you are the audience, not the actor. This emotional distance is your shield. You do not need to win the argument. You do not need to fix the problem. You only need to hold your center, to remain the calm eye in the center of the hurricane. This is not passive. It is an act of immense inner strength. The third skill is proactive. You cannot always be on the defensive. You must have a place to which you can retreat to restore your strength. This is the practice of creating sacred space and time. Your energy is like a battery. Throughout the day, it gets depleted by interactions, decisions, and stimuli. If you do not have a dedicated time and place to recharge, you will begin each new day with less energy than the last, until you are running on empty. A sacred space can be a corner of your room, a chair by a window, or a path in a park. It is a physical location that you designate as a sanctuary, free from digital noise and external demands. Sacred time is a non-negotiable appointment with yourself. It could be the first 20 minutes of your morning, free from your phone. It could be a silent walk at lunch. During this time, your only task is to be present and allow your system to reboot. This practice creates a deep reservoir of energy that makes you far less vulnerable to the drains you encounter in the outside world. This practice of setting boundaries is not just a technique for mental peace, it is a biological necessity for your physical health. The renowned physician and author, Dr. Barmate, he presents overwhelming evidence that the repression of healthy emotions, especially the inability to say no, which is the core of the people-pleasing pattern, is a major risk factor for developing chronic diseases, some including autoimmune conditions and cancer. When you consistently override your own needs and feelings to accommodate others, you are not being nice. You are generating a chronic, low-grade stress response in your body. Your immune system, your nervous system, and your hormonal balance pay the price. Therefore, learning to say an authentic no is not an act of selfishness. It is a fundamental act of self-care, as essential to your health as proper nutrition or sleep. Your energetic shield is also your physiological shield. You have learned to see the drains, to close the gates within, and to forge your shield of boundaries. This is the foundation of energetic self-defense. But true mastery does not lie in defense alone. It lies in transformation. What do you do when you cannot escape a saboteur, a family member, a colleague, a boss. This brings us to the final and most advanced chapter of our training. An alchemist of old did not seek to destroy lead, they sought to transform it into gold. A master of energy does not seek to destroy negativity, they seek to use its friction to create something of value within themselves. Consider the oyster. When an irritating grain of sand gets inside its shell, the oyster does not attack it. Instead, it coats the irritant, layer by patient layer, with its own precious essence. Over time, it transforms this source of agitation into a beautiful pearl. The silent saboteurs in your life are these grains of sand. Your conscious, peaceful response is the essence that creates the pearl of your own wisdom and resilience. This transformation is achieved through two shifts in perspective. The first is to learn to use compassion as a shield. When you are faced with a critic or a victim, your first instinct is to become defensive. This is a battle of energy that you will always lose. The alternative is to look past their behavior and see the suffering that fuels it. The critic does not criticize because they are strong, they criticize because they are insecure. The victim does not complain because they enjoy it, they complain because they feel powerless. When you can see their behavior not as an attack on you, but as an expression of their own inner pain, something shifts. You no longer take it personally. This compassion is not agreement. It is not permission for them to treat you poorly. It is a form of emotional detachment that creates a buffer. You can understand their pain without having to absorb it. This understanding is a shield that no negativity can penetrate. The second shift is to view the saboteur as the mirror of self-reflection. When a person consistently drains your energy, ask yourself a powerful question. What is this situation mirroring back to me that I need to see? Does their criticism trigger a deep insecurity that was already there? Does their neediness expose your own fear of being alone? Does their drama highlight the part of you that is secretly bored with your own life? Often, the people who irritate us the most are our most unwilling teachers. They show us, with perfect clarity, the parts of ourselves that are not yet at peace. Instead of seeing them as an antagonist, see them as a training partner. The friction they provide is a perfect tool for you to polish your own inner calm, to strengthen your own self-worth, to heal your own wounds. They are the weight that, when lifted properly, makes you stronger. This process of transforming a negative experience is not a mystical art. It is a well-researched psychological skill known as cognitive reappraisal, pioneered by leading psychologists like Dr. James Gross of Stanford University. Reappraisal is the proven ability to change your emotional response by reinterpreting the meaning of a situation. Your initial narrative when facing a saboteur might be, "I am being attacked." This story leads to stress and energy loss. An alchemical reappraisal changes the story to, "This is an opportunity to practice compassion," or "This is a test to strengthen my inner peace." The research by Gross and others shows that individuals who effectively use cognitive reappraisal experience not only greater emotional well-being, but also have more successful social interactions. You are not changing the external event, you are changing the meaning you assign to it, and in doing so, you are neutralizing its power over you. You are consciously rewiring your brain's response, turning a potential poison into a medicine. Today, we have walked a path. We began by seeing the invisible thieves that steal your energy, returned inward to find the open gates of our own vulnerability. We forged the shield of boundaries to protect our inner world, and finally, we learned the alchemist's secret of transforming friction into strength. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It is not about hiding from the world. It is about claiming the fuel you need to engage with the world from a place of fullness and purpose. It is about having more to give to the people, the projects, and the passions that truly matter. It is the foundation of a life lived by design, not by default. So, the next time you feel it, that familiar pull, that subtle drain as someone unloads their chaos onto you, I want you to pause, and instead of labeling it stress or an attack, I want you to give it its true name, a choice. The choice is not whether to feel the pull, the choice is whether you will be the anchor, holding your ground, or the ship, dragged out into their sea of storms. You were not designed to be a receptacle for the world's negativity. You were designed, from the cellular level up, to be a transformer of energy. The greatest saboteurs of your life are not your enemies. They are your sparring partners, sent to awaken the master within you. The question is no longer, how do I get rid of this person? The question is, what great and worthy purpose will I choose to fuel with all this energy I am now reclaiming?